What if everything you've been told about death is wrong? What if the end is not truly the end, but rather the beginning of something far more profound? Hidden within the shadows of history, buried in lost manuscripts and ancient wisdom, lies a secret so powerful it has been deliberately obscured, misinterpreted, or simply forgotten. There exists an ancient book, one that was said to hold the key to understanding the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. A text whispered about in the halls of mystery schools, referenced in sacred traditions, and yet largely unknown to the modern world. It claims that death is not an ending but a passage, a doorway into another reality, one that we traverse again and again, lifetime after lifetime. But what exactly does this lost book reveal? And why has this knowledge been hidden for so long? Today we will explore its teachings, uncover its hidden messages, and reveal how understanding its wisdom can forever change the way you see life, death, and your own existence. Prepare to journey through ancient philosophy, forgotten scriptures, and esoteric teachings that challenge everything you thought you knew. By the end of this video, you will not only understand the secrets of death and rebirth, but you will also discover how this knowledge can transform your own spiritual path. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Throughout history, the greatest minds and spiritual traditions have wrestled with the mysteries of death and rebirth. From the pyramids of Egypt to the temples of India, from the hidden scrolls of the Gnostics to the secret teachings of Tibetan monks, one truth emerges: life does not end at death. It merely transforms. One of the most profound sources of this knowledge is the Egyptian Book of the Dead, a sacred text that served as a guide for the soul's journey after death. The ancient Egyptians believed that upon dying, the soul entered the Duat, a mystical realm where it faced trials, tests, and ultimately judgment. Only those who passed the weighing of the heart, where one's deeds were measured against the feather of Ma'at, could ascend to the higher realms of existence. But those who failed? They were sent back into the cycle, reborn to try again. Similar ideas appear in the Bhagavad Gita, a revered Hindu scripture. Here, Krishna reveals to the warrior Arjuna a secret of existence. Just as a man discards worn-out clothes and puts on new ones, so too does the soul abandon a worn-out body and enter a new one. This concept, known as samsara, describes an endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. But it is not a prison, it is a school, a process through which the soul evolves, learns, and ultimately seeks liberation. In the West, the early Christian Gnostics also believed in reincarnation. They taught that human souls were fragments of divine light, trapped in material bodies, moving through lifetimes in an effort to awaken and return to their true transcendent origin. Yet, as time passed, these teachings were declared heretical, erased from mainstream doctrine, and buried beneath centuries of dogma. Why was this knowledge suppressed? And what happens when we remember it? The answers lie within a mysterious text, one that echoes these ancient truths, yet remains virtually unknown to most of the world. A book that reveals the mechanics of death, the process of rebirth, and the secret to breaking free from the cycle once and for all. And now, it is time to uncover its teachings. Hidden among the sacred texts of the world is a book that reveals the ultimate secret of existence. Death is not the end, and rebirth is not random. This book, obscure, elusive, and shrouded in mystery, describes the exact process that unfolds when the soul leaves the body and prepares for its next incarnation. Some claim it to be an ancient Tibetan manuscript, others believe it was part of the lost library of Alexandria, and some whisper that it was deliberately hidden by secret societies who feared its power. But regardless of its origin, its message remains clear. The cycle of life and death is not just a law of nature, it is an intricate design, one that operates with purpose, intelligence, and, most importantly, intent. According to the teachings in this book, the moment of death is not chaotic, but highly structured. The soul does not simply drift into nothingness. Instead, it enters a transitional realm, a place between worlds. The Tibetans called it the Bardo, the Egyptians depicted it as the Duat, and the Greeks envisioned it as the plains of Asphodel. This realm is neither heaven nor hell, but a liminal space where the soul is confronted with the truth of its existence. Imagine standing before a great mirror, one that does not reflect your physical form, but the essence of your soul. Every thought, every emotion, every action from your life is laid bare before you. There is no judgment from an external deity, only the weight of your own conscience, the pure, unfiltered reality of who you truly are. It is here that the soul's next journey is determined. But this process is not arbitrary. According to this lost book, the nature of our rebirth is governed by three fundamental forces. 1. Karmic momentum. The energy created by our actions, thoughts, and emotions carries forward, shaping the conditions of our next life. Like a river carving through rock, our choices etch patterns into the soul, guiding its future path. 2. The state of the mind at death. Ancient traditions emphasize that the final thoughts and emotions at the moment of death set the trajectory for what comes next. Fear, anger, or attachment can pull the soul into lower realms, while peace, clarity, and wisdom can elevate it to higher states. 3. The soul's level of awareness. A soul that recognizes the illusion of material existence and awakens to its divine nature can escape the cycle altogether, moving beyond birth and death into realms of pure consciousness. These forces are not external punishments or rewards. They are the mechanics of an ancient system designed to guide the soul toward its ultimate evolution. But there is one more revelation, perhaps the most shocking of all. This book suggests that the cycle of death and rebirth is not something that happens to us. It is something that we participate in, whether consciously or unconsciously. We do not merely reincarnate, we choose our next life, drawn toward the lessons we need to learn, the debts we need to repay, and the wisdom we need to acquire. But how does this process work? And can we influence it to shape our destiny beyond death? The answers lie in the next part of our journey. If the soul chooses its next life, then what is the mechanism behind this choice? Is it a conscious decision, or is there an unseen force guiding us toward our next incarnation? The Lost Book reveals something astonishing. Before reincarnation, the soul enters what ancient traditions describe as the Hall of Mirrors, the Akashic realm, or the Library of Souls. Here, the past, present, and future converge, and the soul witnesses the grand design of its existence. Imagine standing in a vast cosmic archive, where every moment of your past lives is recorded, imprinted in luminous energy. You see the people you have loved, the mistakes you have made, the joys you have experienced, and the pain you have inflicted. Every action, every thought has shaped your soul's evolution. But now, you are at a crossroads. The forces of karma, intention, and spiritual awareness weave together, forming the blueprint for your next journey. According to this book, the soul is presented with different pathways, potential lifetimes, each offering unique challenges and lessons. But these choices are not random. They are based on the unfinished patterns of the past. If a soul carried great resentment in one life, it may be drawn to a path where forgiveness must be learned. If a soul misused power, it may return in a position of servitude to experience humility. This idea is reflected in the teachings of Plato, who wrote in the Republic about the myth of In this myth, souls who have died are gathered in a celestial realm and must choose their next life before reincarnating. Some, blinded by their past desires, choose recklessly. Others, wise from experience, choose carefully. The cycle continues until true wisdom is attained. But what about those who do not wish to return? What about those who seek to break free from the cycle of birth and death altogether? The Lost Book speaks of a final secret, one that only a few have ever fully grasped. It tells us that the cycle of reincarnation is not a prison, but a school. And like any school, there comes a time when graduation is possible. The way out is through awareness, mastery of the self, and ultimate detachment from the illusions of material existence. The Buddha called this state nirvana, the cessation of suffering. But Gnostics called it gnosis, the knowledge that liberates the soul. The ancient Egyptians called it becoming an Ak, a luminous being who transcends mortality. And so the question is no longer simply what happens after we die, but rather, what will you do with this knowledge? Can we prepare for death in a way that shapes our rebirth? Can we awaken now and change the trajectory of our future incarnations? The answer lies not in theory, but in practice. And in the next section, we will uncover the methods used by mystics and sages to influence the cycle of reincarnation itself. Now that we understand the mechanics of death and rebirth, the next question is, how can we influence this process? Is it possible to prepare for death in a way that determines our next incarnation, or even escape the cycle entirely? According to the Lost Book, the answer is yes. Mystics, sages, and spiritual masters have long practiced techniques to navigate the afterlife with clarity and control. These methods are not based on blind faith, but on direct experience. Practices designed to cultivate awareness, dissolve karmic imprints, and shape the soul's journey beyond this life. Here are 3 core techniques revealed in the ancient text. Most people enter death in a state of fear, confusion, or attachment. But ancient traditions teach that the way we die shapes where we go next. Tibetan monks practice phawa, the transference of consciousness at the moment of death, to guide the soul toward liberation. How to apply this in your life? Mindfulness of death. Contemplate impermanence daily. Reflect on the fact that your body is temporary, but your consciousness continues. This reduces fear of death and makes the transition smoother. Visualization. In meditation, practice imagining your last breath. Picture your soul leaving your body with ease, moving toward light, higher realms, or complete liberation. Mantras or affirmations. In moments of distress, repeating phrases like, "I am eternal consciousness," or "I release all fear," can program the subconscious to face death with peace and clarity. Many esoteric traditions claim that what happens after death is similar to what happens in dreams. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes the bardo as a dreamlike state, where thoughts become reality instantly. If we train ourselves to remain conscious in dreams, we can navigate the afterlife with awareness. How to apply this in your life? Lucid dreaming practice. Keep a dream journal, perform reality checks, and set the intention to wake up within your dreams. This trains the mind to stay conscious in altered states. Astral projection. The practice of leaving the body during meditation or sleep mirrors the soul's transition at death. Learning to separate from the body while alive can prepare you for the afterlife. Dissolving fears. Facing fears in dreams, such as falling, darkness, or death, allows you to meet the unknown with confidence when the time comes. Since our actions, thoughts, and emotions shape our future incarnations, it is possible to alter our next life by changing how we live this one. Many spiritual traditions emphasize karmic purification to ensure a better rebirth or to escape the cycle entirely. How to apply this in your life? Self-reflection and forgiveness. Regularly review your life. Are there unresolved grudges, regrets, or attachments? Resolve them now so they do not carry over into the next life. Acts of compassion. Every act of kindness, generosity, or love weakens negative karmic bonds and strengthens positive ones. This shifts the trajectory of future incarnations. Detachment from material illusions. Recognize that money, status, and even relationships are temporary. The more detached you are from earthly desires, the freer your soul becomes. The Lost Book teaches that the most powerful way to influence death and rebirth is to awaken before death arrives. If you recognize deeply, undeniably, that you are more than your body, then when the moment of death comes, you will not be afraid. You will not be lost. You will simply step into the next stage of your existence with clarity, control, and purpose. And perhaps, if you have mastered the final secret, you may never have to return at all. Death is not an end. It is a doorway, one that every soul must pass through. But as we have uncovered, this journey is not chaotic, nor is it beyond our control. The Lost Book reveals that life and death are part of a vast, intelligent design, one that operates according to the laws of karma, consciousness, and spiritual evolution. We have explored the ancient wisdom that tells us, death is a transition, not an annihilation. Our thoughts, actions, and emotions shape our next incarnation. By practicing awareness, lucid dreaming, and karmic purification, we can prepare for what comes next. The ultimate goal is not just a better rebirth, but liberation from the cycle itself. But the greatest secret of all, you are not meant to wait until death to awaken. The teachings of this book and the wisdom of the ancients tell us that enlightenment is possible here and now. You are already more than your body, more than your thoughts, more than the illusion of self. The question is not what happens after we die, but how fully will we live before that moment arrives. So, I leave you with this. If death were to come for you today, would you be ready? Not in fear, but in understanding. Not in regret, but in wisdom. Because once you awaken to the truth, you will never fear the unknown again. What are your thoughts on death and rebirth? Have you ever had an experience that made you question reality? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more revelations on the mysteries of existence. Until next time, walk the path with awareness.